Hello everyone, welcome to my bed. I'm here with Wolfie once again. Welcome to another video of I'm in the middle of so many books that it's overwhelming. And I feel like in the past I've done this and then I felt guilty about how long the video is or whatever, but you know what? It keeps me accountable. Also, we were like wavering around because we're on the bed. Let's move. Here, I'll sit on the bed. You sit on my desk. This is actually a fun angle I haven't done before. I'm in the middle of all these. I'm also in the middle of Iron Widow, which is downstairs right now, and I'll talk about that later because that's probably the one I'm going to be immediately reading. But I'm just kind of overwhelmed. I mean, in a good way. It is reading. It is a hobby I enjoy, but I'm just trying to do too many things at once. And now that I'm not able to listen to audiobooks quite as often, I feel like I'm behind. So I think this video will help me just feel like I'm getting all these done. So on top here, technically I haven't started Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. Well, let's see. I put a bookmark in here. Oh, put a bookmark at chapter 1. But me and my best friend have been kind of buddy reading this series together. We buddy read the first two together, and then she kind of went off and read the third one by herself, and I read the third one by myself. But we're going to try and read this one together, and we were going to, and both of us got busy. But I will probably be starting this soon, and it's so long. And there's no audiobook for it, so that stinks. I'm in the middle of City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I also checked out this audiobook from the library, and I ran out of time, so it went back to the library. I am 236 pages in, so I am about halfway through this one. And I do like it, but I am a little confused. The world building is a bit confusing, and I've heard there's a love triangle, and I kind of looked it up because I was like, I don't know if I want to read this whole trilogy. She doesn't get with who I want her to get with, and I'm pretty sure she doesn't. So I don't know how I feel about that. I definitely will finish this one at least. So yeah, there's this one. Next, I started Red Pyramid by Rick Riordan. So long story short, I love Rick Riordan. I read the Percy Jackson series way back when. I've read all of Heroes of Olympus. I've read most of Trials of Apollo. I only have the last one. And I was really liking that series. And I was like, all right, before I'm allowed to finish Trials of Apollo, I have to go back and read all the other Rick Riordan stuff that I haven't, like that I'm behind on basically. And when I was a kid, I never finished this trilogy. I think I read this when it released. Let's see, when did this come out? 2010, so I was 12. Yeah, I probably read this when it released, read the second one when it released, and then I got the third one on release day in 2013 or whatever, 2012, and I never read it. I don't know what happened. I've actually already reread this once years and years ago to try and finish this trilogy, and I never did. So this time it is happening. I'm going to reread the first book again, reread the second one, and then finish this dang trilogy. I think it's just because while I enjoyed this trilogy, it's not, like, I love the Percy Jackson stuff more, and I love the Norse trilogy more than this one. Like, this is just my least favorite, honestly. But it's still entertaining. It's still Rick Riordan. This won't take me long to read. I'm only 50 pages in, but, like, that took me not a lot of time. Rick Riordan's writing is easy. So that one I'm not too worried about. I'm rereading Ninth House. This will be my third reread. This is my favorite book ever, if I haven't talked about that. I love this book. I want to reread it because I wanted to reread Hellbent, like, right after reading this, because Hellbent literally takes place immediately after this book. So when I read Hellbent a little bit earlier, I was like, man, I wish I'd, like, even though I just reread this last year, I kind of wish, like, I want to read them right in a row. So that's what I'm going to do. I have the audiobook for this checked out, and I've listened to 20 pages. But hopefully this won't be hard because, I know the story very well. So I can just kind of listen to it, Cool. And Iron Widow should be easy. Again, I'll talk about that later because I'm hoping to finish this week. It's Thursday, so I don't know if it's going to happen. But I'm hoping. The one I'm really worried about is Rule Wolves, also by Leigh Bardugo. So I have kind of a weird relationship with Leigh Bardugo. The Grisha trilogy I read in high school. I really enjoyed it at the time, but upon reflection, I'm like, it's fine, whatever. Read Six of Crows in college, I think, when it came out. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Got spoiled for Crooked Kingdom. You know what spoiler I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into it. Finally reread Six of Crows, read Crooked Kingdom. Did end up enjoying Crooked Kingdom, even with the spoiler. I actually have a video, I think, where I finished Crooked Kingdom, so I'll link that below. And then I read King of Scars, thought it was fine, and now I just want to finish this shit because I don't really care, but I want to, like, I've read all her other books, like, including that short story collection she wrote. Like, I have to know what happens. But yeah, this is, like, I just don't care. But this is the second book in the King of Scars duology, which is about Nikolai from the original Grisha trilogy and Nina from Six of Crows. So you have to read both of those series to even understand a lick of what's happening in here, which is quite annoying. And it's been so long since I've read King of Scars. I think I read it 2 years ago, that I honestly have no clue what's happening in this, but I don't care. I don't want to read King of Scars. And this book is massive. I think it's like 550 pages. Like, girl, I just have such a weird relationship with Leigh Bardugo because she literally wrote my favorite book ever, plus Hellbent, which is also so good. And I love Six of Crows. But the rest of the Grisha stuff, I just kind of feel indifferent about at this point. And I'm pretty sure her current book she's working on is a third Six of Crows book. And I'm like, just stop. I want her to work on Ninth House, or I want her to work on something new. But I get it. I feel like the Grisha books are more universally loved than Ninth House. I feel like these are kind of divisive. So you know what? Girl's got to eat. She's working on what's going to make her money. I get it. I love her so much. She also just seems like a really cool person. But anyway, all that to say that I need to read this. Oh, I kind of just referenced this on the back here. Yeah. Grisha Trilogy, Six of Crows, the short story collection, King of Scars. Oh, I haven't read the Saints thing. Maybe I'll read that too. But anyway, I just need to read this. I'm like 90 pages in. It's so long. I mean, it's well written, but I just don't care, you know? So there's that. What are we to tackle first? So Iron Widow is going to be first. I am loving that. Again, I'll go more into that in a second, but I love that so much. And then I think my next order of business here. Oh my God, I forgot. I'm also reading Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies, or whatever the book's called. I have that on my phone. I'm like 20% into that one. I'm really enjoying that as well. That's like, feels very Howl's Moving Castle-y so far. So that one and Iron Widow will probably be first. Then this, because this is a library book. I probably will have to renew this. And then this, because this is also a library book. I guess depending, these three will kind of be last. Oop. And they're also, why am I in the middle of so many long books? Like, this has got to be, let's see, people. This is like $650. And this is like $500. And this is like $4 something, I think. Nope, $500. What am I doing? Anyway, wish me luck. This video is already going to be long, so I'm just going to check in when the book is finished. Oh God. Yes, I am washing my sheets and my mattress cover. We're really just doing a whole wash. But I am here with great news because I finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I did can't speak English. I did end up buying it because I was really enjoying it. As you can see, I don't know if you can see. So you can see I have a few favorite parts marked. I probably shouldn't have bought it because the ending was a little bit underwhelming. Because I bought it when I was like 3/4 of the way through because I was like, I'm loving it. But you know what? I was having a bad day and this made me feel better. So, no regrets. But I don't know if I talked about this, what this was about. If I did, I will cut this part out. But this is basically about this girl, Emily Wilde, who is writing an encyclopedia about fairies, and she goes to Norway. I think it is real life Norway, but obviously there's fantastical elements, and it's in 1909. Takes place in the early 20th century. Help me. Oh my God. I just took a shower. I should be feeling like fresh. And she's studying fairies in Norway. And it's also about her colleague, not Wesley. Help me. Wendell. I just finished this like half an hour ago. And just kind of about their relationship as well. And he kind of has some mysterious stuff going on as well. I really like the first 3 quarters is a 5 out of 5, like for sure. Like I was loving it so much. I really liked Emily is very like just focused on her scientific research and really doesn't give a fuck about anyone. Which was, and like she obviously grows throughout the book, but it was kind of refreshing to read about that she wasn't just like looking out for everybody. And Wendell was pretty similar. Like he was just like, fuck everybody else except Emily. So that was kind of fun. It reminded me a lot of Howl's Moving Castle. So I loved those vibes because I love both the book and the movie of Howl's Moving Castle. It makes me want to reread the book and rewatch the movie. I definitely recommend if you're a fan of Howl's Moving Castle. But the ending was like a 3.5. Like it just was a little bit underwhelming. And some choices Emily made, I was like, girl. But there is going to be a sequel. I did not know that. I thought it was a standalone. But there is going to be a sequel, so I'm hopeful that like I'll enjoy it as it continues because this was really solid. I think I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Maybe a 4.25 if we're getting specific. But like, yeah. Really loved the first 3 quarters. And also, I did indeed read this instead of what I should have been reading, which is Iron Widow. I didn't show you this before, but here it is. I'm 100 pages in. Really loving this. Like, loving it so much that I don't want to pick it up because it's going to be over and I'll be sad. But next will be this and then Rule of Wolves, probably. So, yeah. Catch you on the flip side. Hello everyone, I'm at my desk and I have good news for this video because I have finished 2 more books. Woo! Okay, so I have my bookmark. Let me put that back. I finished Iron Widow and Ninth House. Very exciting stuff. So I finally just read this like over the weekend and on Monday. Because it's Wednesday now. Not that doesn't really matter. But I finally just read this. I don't know why it took me so long because it is such a fast-paced book. For some reason, I just didn't feel like the drive to pick it up, even though once I picked it up, it was, amazing. I gave this 5 stars. This was a 5-star read for sure. It was so good. I don't know if I talked a lot about it. Basically, it is about this world where, like, it's kind of like a mecha anime. They pilot these, like, giant... I've already shown this. I guess I'll have to cut this out. But these giant, like, machines. And a woman and a man both have to be in the pilot seat for it to pilot. And usually the man sucks out all the woman's energy and kills her. It's actually like boys and girls. Like, they're very young. They're all teenagers, pretty much. And everything changes when our main character gets involved. It has a polyamorous relationship. That was so good. Lee Shamin I loved him so much. He's so great. I loved this. I thought this was incredibly well written. This being a debut makes me jealous. Like, I will never write this good. Like, and she's my age as well, the author. Like, oh my God. The author is so amazing. They seem really cool. I followed them on Instagram and TikTok. Definitely check them out. Also, at the end, my jaw was on the floor. Like, I'm so pumped for the sequel. It comes out next year. It comes out in 2024, I believe. So, yeah. Absolutely incredible. I have a ton of favorite parts. Damn, is all I gotta say. And then I finished my reread of Ninth House literally just in time. My audiobook hold goes back. It says like in 12 hours. I was like, woo, I cut that close. This is actually my third time reading Ninth House. I read it physically the first time, and then I've listened to the audiobook twice. I do reread books pretty often, but this is my first time, not my first time, why did I say that? I don't often reread them after I've reread them once, if that makes any sense. Like, there's a ton of books I've reread, but not a lot. Like, I was never, as a kid, I had a lot of friends who just reread their favorite books, like, over and over and over, and that was never really me. I was more interested in picking up new stuff, and it hasn't been until I've gotten a little older that I've, gotten into rereading more, which is great. I love rereading. It's so comforting and wonderful, and I often like it because I've reread most of my favorite books at this point in my life, and there's always something I've forgotten about. Like, I just reread the Shadow of the Fox trilogy so that my fiance could enjoy it as well. And there was so much stuff that I had forgotten. Like, there was so many twists that I was just as surprised the second time around because I'd forgotten about it, it was really great. Since this is my second time rereading this, I read this in 2020, and then I read it last year, so in 2022, and then I'm reading it again. So when I reread it last year, there was a ton of stuff that I had forgotten, but this time, since I've only read it a year ago, I pretty much remembered everything, but that doesn't mean it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, this is my favorite book ever. I really wanted, like I said, I wanted to reread this so I could go straight into Hellbent and, like, have all the foreshadowing in my mind, since they're literally back to back. Like, the end of this book is the beginning of Hellbent. I love it. I still love it just as much. I probably won't reread it again until whenever the third book comes out, because I don't want to, like, oversaturate it for myself. Like, I'm that way with movies as well. Like, I rewatch my favorite movies only, like, once a year, once every 2 years, because I feel like if I rewatched it all the time, it would lose some of the magic. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but I definitely am like that. But yeah, I love this. If you don't know what this is about, it's about Alex Stern. She is going to Yale. It's about a bunch of secret societies. It's about magic. It's textbook dark academia, but I have never found a dark academia after this one that I've liked quite as much, because I feel like this straddles the line a little bit better with the magic and the humor, I guess. Like, I feel like I've tried so many others that are just like weird, like strange. Like Bunny and Catherine House are both just weird dark academia, though Catherine House was interesting. I did like that one. What are some others that I've read? Those are the main two I can think of. Oh, Ace of Spades was really good, but that was more like political dark academia. That was like modern. This is modern too, but you know what I mean? Yeah, nothing for me has ever been successful dark academia in the way this one is. Maybe it's the magic and fantasy elements that I like more. I don't know. I also just love these characters to death. So, yeah. Anyway, it's so good. Again, so many favorite parts. I underlined a lot. Not a lot, but I underlined a few lines I like this time around. Yeah. Anyway, I don't have anything else to say. So, let me think here. Okay, I think I have 4 books left for this video. Was there 7 total? And I've read 3. I've read these 2 and Emily Wilde. And I got City of Brass. Oh my god, this bookmark always trying to come after me. I got this audiobook from the library, but I pushed it back because I was finishing Ninth House, so I'll get that soon. I still need to pick this up. This is going to be something. Book is so flippin' long. Yeah, I think it's these 4. It's The City of Brass, Queen of Shadows, Red Pyramid, and Rule of Wolves. I'm considering adding a couple books to this video just to keep myself accountable. So I will share those with you. And if I decide not to add them, the magic of editing will delete this clip or this part. So Those two, it's 2 books that or maybe I'll just talk about all of them. So for my friends in I's book club that I read Iron Widow for, we're now reading Mexican Gothic, which I have on audio. So that is something I need to read before that audiobook loan goes. And then I had another hold that came in for, I'm trying to read, I think I already said this, I'm trying to read all of Rick Riordan's backlist before I finish The Trials of Apollo and before his other books come out, which the Nico and Will one comes out really soon. So I'm probably gonna have to wait a little bit to read that one, but that's okay. So I got an audiobook. I didn't know these had audiobooks, but I got the audiobook for Percy Jackson's Greek Gods, which I have owned this, I think, since it came out whenever, in 2014, and I just never picked it up, but I'm excited because now it has an audiobook. So I'm gonna listen to that. Or I mean, it probably has had an audiobook, but I just didn't know it did. And then I'm reading Undivided with my fiance. He's actually already done with it. I'm so behind on everything right now. This is the last book in the Unwind Dystology, I guess, quartet as well. There's 4 of them. And I just need to read this because we were supposed to buddy read it, and he finished before me because I was reading all that other stuff. So, I didn't say Mexican Gothic, I don't really know what that's about. I think it's about a lady who gets trapped in a house. I'll tell you more when I know more. This is all just like a mythology book in Percy's voice with illustrations. The illustrations are great though. Let me find a fun one. I don't know. Of course I'm finding all the weird ones. Okay, here we go. I started listening to it the other night. I'm just going to really love listening to this and looking through it. I'm quite excited about that. Yeah, so Unwind, I feel like everybody knows what it's about. It's about if abortion is illegal. No. Yeah, abortion's illegal, but when your kid is 13, you have the option to unwind them. That's which is killing them basically. But it's their organs are going to other kids, so it's fine because they're still alive, even though they're not. So this is the 4th and final book in that series. My fiance and I are he thought it was okay. It's such a bummer because I love the first 2 books in the series. The 3rd one was good. I think I gave it 4 stars. But my fiance said it gets kind of weird at the end. So we'll see how it goes. But this should not take me that long to read. So yeah, sorry for this unnecessary long check-in. This video is probably going to be a million years long, but accountability is the goal here. So yeah. Okay. Hello, people. It's 11:45, almost midnight. I literally moments ago just finished Undivided by Neal Shusterman. Hell yes. This is a series I've been reading for a while. I actually had to reread the first 2 books because I forgot shit that happened. I already talked about this. This is the Unwind series. This 4th book, I think I'm going to give it 4 stars. Really entertaining, really enjoyed it. These books are very easy to read, very fast-paced. The writing is kind of weird. Neal Shusterman uses weird, what's the word I'm looking for when you reference modern stuff? Just when you reference celebrities and movies and stuff, he uses that a lot. And this is our world, but it's an alternate reality, and sometimes it was a little cringy. And ultimately, I am a little disappointed by these last 2 books in the series. I love Unwind and whatever the second one's called. I'll put a picture up or something. I can't remember. The first 2 books in the series were 5 stars for me. I loved them. But 3 and 4 were just kind of disappointing. Not that they weren't good. This is a good ending. But the second one, I don't want to spoil it, but the second one's ending felt like the best ending of any of them, if that makes sense. I almost wish these were kind of rotated around a little bit. I understand why the story went the way it did, but the ending of the second one is incredible. It's so action-packed and just, crazy. And this, it just didn't reach that same level. But I still think this series is worth it. I I guess it's like a 4-star series overall, but the first Unwind is like one of my favorite books. It's really good. There's like a book of short stories that I'm still gonna read. I'm thirsty. Hold on. But for now, I have finished the main series, so that feels really good. My fiance and I actually read them together. I don't think he enjoyed the series quite as much as me, but he was in agreement with me. Like, he liked the first 2 more than the last 2. Yeah, I also finished Mexican Gothic. Pop a picture right here. That one is also probably 4 stars. I feel like the first half, that book is about, I don't know if I said what it's about already. It's about this girl named Naomi who goes to this house, this kind of haunted house, very like this old-fashioned house, because her cousin got married to a guy living there, and she sent this very ominous letter that's like, help me, basically, this place is ratchet. So she goes there and tries to figure out what's going on. And I was actually never going to read this book. I read it for my friend's book club that we have together. It's very casual. There's only 3 of us. And I probably wouldn't have picked it up otherwise. So I'm kind of glad because I did end up enjoying it. But like the first half, like nothing happens. Like I feel like I understand why people don't like this one because, or maybe even 2/3. It's just Naomi like going around this house, talking to people, trying to figure stuff out, and like I wish there was more foreshadowing, or just like I feel like you don't get answers, you don't get answers, and then you get answers. Like there's not really a progression. It's just kind of nothing and then all at once, if that makes any sense, which was kind of strange. But like even though nothing was happening, I was still like enthralled. Like I don't know, I was just very interested in all the conversations she was having. I was very just intrigued by everything. So I understand why people have a problem with it, but I didn't really mind it. I don't know. But the ending section, like the 3rd act, was absolutely bonkers. And there were definitely elements that freaked me out real bad. Let's just say I'm not a body horror person. And there was some of that going on. And it was not cute. I did not like that. But I know it's supposed to be a horror book, I guess, but it was scary. But I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like usually horror books don't end well. And this one, I actually liked the ending. There was actually like a romance in it as well, which I wasn't expecting, which I really enjoyed. And it reminded me of Crimson Peak, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And I've desperately been looking for books that are like it. And while this isn't, like, I still like Crimson Peak more, this wasn't like a 1-to-1, which I'm not looking for a 1-to-1. But this is the closest thing I've read that's like Crimson Peak. So if you like that movie, definitely check this book out. It's obviously different in a lot of ways, but some of the elements were similar, like the mysterious house and like the ally trying to help Naomi figure out what's going on. Kind of, not that, oh my god, what's his name in Crimson Peak? Thomas? Tom Hiddleston. No, I'm just thinking it's Thomas because it's played by Tom Hiddleston. The guy, it's not really her Al. I don't want to spoil stuff. But anyway, yeah, so 2 like solid 4-star reads. I'm feeling pretty good. I finished these both today, so I'm feeling awesome. I only had like 60 pages of this left though. I listened to a lot of Mexican Gothic today though. But y'all know, next up, this bad boy. I'm still like the same amount in that I was. So this will probably be my next update. So stay tuned for that. Okay. Good night. Hello people. It's late. I just finished this and I thought I would tell you about it so I could put it back on my shelf because it's ginormous. This was really good. It was really fun. My sister, I can't hold this up anymore. Sorry. Just pretend. My sister just got me into and got my fiance into it as well. I passed it to him. This like independent musical. From my understanding, the guy is on TikTok and he's just making the songs little by little. It's called Epic. It's like he's making a musical for the Trojan War and the Odyssey. He's done a part of the Trojan War and then Odysseus facing the Cyclops. So there's like 9 songs or something, and he's making more, and it's so good. So between that and this, I'm all up in the Greek mythology right now. This was just a lot of fun. I just love the educational part of it, but Rick Riordan makes it so entertaining for kids. Like, I can so picture, like, parents reading this to their kids before bed. When I was young, I got the Children's Bible, which is, like, it was basically a bunch of Bible stories written out in a more understandable format, and that's what I got read before bed, but kids today get this, so it's probably better. But yeah, it was just fun to, like, have a lot of this mythology in a more, like, funny, accessible way. Oh, I was laying on Wolfie. He's all squished. Sorry, bud. There you go. And just, the audiobook the narrator was so good. Percy's voice is obviously so funny. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to listen to. I have heard 80% of the myths, I feel like. But it's always good to be reminded because I forget a lot of them easily. But there was also new ones in there that I hadn't heard of. And I mean, I'll probably forget a lot of them, but that's okay. You know? It was a fun experience. I definitely want to read. Man, my hair is like extra curly out of the shower tonight. I don't know why. Wavy, I should say. I definitely want to read the Heroes one as well. I'll probably wait a bit because even though this is really accessible and funny, it was a little bit dense just because it's about it's educational, and this book is not meant to be read binged like I binged it because I had to return the audiobook. So that's my own fault. But yeah, it was really good. I think I'm going to give it like a 4-star. I also wanted to use this update to just update you all about, my other reading endeavors here. I do want to update because I'm about halfway through Rule of Wolves. This book is so long. I'm not really enjoying it. The writing is good. Like, it's well written, but I just don't like any decision being made in here. I don't think this duology should have existed. I'm just not enjoying the plot or any decisions of the characters or Lee. And listen, there are so many authors I love, Rick Riordan being one of them, who know their lane and write in their lane. Rick Riordan writes mythology. Cassandra Clare has literally only written Shadowhunter books, etc. I know Miss Lee got to make her money in the Grisha world, but this is just absolutely the weakest book of all of them, including the original trilogy, which is not my favorite. So yeah, I felt like I had to give a halfway update because when I finish this, I will probably talk about spoilers. So here is my update without spoilers. It's fine. This is definitely not getting above 3 stars, but I knew it wasn't because I'm reading this for completion's sake. I just want to know what happens, not necessarily enjoyment. I wish there was an audiobook I could have accessed, but my library doesn't have one, and I don't have Audible anymore. So, but yeah, I just feel like I'm slogging my way through it. I did read a lot last week. I think the beginning of last week I was only on page 90. So I read 200 pages, which was pretty good. But yeah, that is the update of the evening. I need to go to bed and it is pretty late. So, good night. It's time for another update on my bed in the evening. It is... Wait, my watch doesn't work when it's nighttime. 10:07. Can you see that? This time I have Alec. I have a problem, okay? But I'm here because I finished the dreaded Rule of Wolves. I actually finished, today's Sunday. I finished this on Thursday. and I just forgot to do an update. And I was going to wait till I finished another book because I actually read a really big chunk of City of Brass today. I'll grab that in a second, but I need to bring this back to the library. So, yeah. So this is my spoiler update. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Rule of Wolves or Six of Crows as well, or I guess Crooked Kingdom technically, I'm going to put a spoiler warning on the screen. So listen. I went into this duology already expecting I was not going to enjoy it as much because Matthias is dead and I am mad. I've talked about that before. Again, I think I linked the video where I talked about Crooked Kingdom earlier on. I'm just bitter. I'm bitter he's dead, man. He was my favorite character. He is my favorite Grisha world character by far. And I just don't, like, I like Nina, but I did like her more in this book. In King of Scars, she pissed me off. But I liked her more in this book, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And oh my God. The Darkling being back is literally the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I'm actually really upset about that because I feel like he did not need to be in this book. There was enough interesting plot and politics for him not to be there. I wish that whole plot line with the Darkling had been taken out and replaced with more character moments because I just did not feel attached to these people. I feel like Lee is kind of relying on you already being attached to them when we go into this. And there's just not, like, there's development. I'm not going to say there's not development. But I just wanted to be way more invested in the romances specifically than I was because there weren't a lot of scenes to let that develop. It was all just breakneck plot. And without any breaks to talk about characters. But I feel like all the Darkling shit should have been taken out, and then we would have had some wiggle room to put more character shit in. But yeah, I feel like the Darkling's plot is only in there so that at the end of the book, there is something to propel the third Six of Crows book. And it is so stupid because it makes me mad. I know I said in my last clip that I was like, yeah, like Cassandra Clare required and stick to their lane and they write the books. But I am getting frustrated with, and it's like the Marvel syndrome. Like how much you have to read to understand your favorite author's new thing. I'm even kind of mad at Rick Riordan because, listen, I bought The Sun and the Star like anybody else. It came out last week. I have it on my shelf right now. I have it. But the fact that you have to read all of Percy Jackson, all of Heroes of Olympus, all of Trials of Apollo to understand that book, like, are you kidding? Like, that is stupid, Rick. That's stupid. Like, that's not fair. Like, Cassandra Clare is the same way, and now Lee is the same way. Like, in order to read the third Six of Crows book that we all know is coming out, I don't think it's actually been officially announced, but I'm pretty sure that's what Lee's working on right now. You have to literally read all of the Grisha books, the Shadow Moon trilogy, Six of Crows, and this duology, and then you can read it. Like, you can't even just do Six of Crows 1, Six of Crows 2, Six of Crows 3. Like, that is so dumb. Okay? That is so dumb. And, like, what is it going to be? The Four of Crows? Like, again, spoilers, but at the end of this book, Nina's married to Han and, like, got off in Fjerda. So it's just going to be Kaz and Ej, like, Jesper and Wylan, which, I mean, I'm gonna read it. Like, listen, I love those guys. I'm gonna read it. Like, what can I say? But just the concept of that is shitty. And, like, Sarah J. Maas is pulling crap like that, too. And I'm just frustrated. Again, I know you gotta make money. I get it. But, like, can't we just do something else? Anyway, spoilers done. I know I'm sounding super negative about it, but I did end up liking The ending, it was good. It was entertaining. Like, whenever I picked it up, I read it very quickly. But yeah, it just wasn't for me. I gave it 3 stars. Maybe 3.5. I can't remember. No, I think I gave it a 3. So, very happy I finished it. This is the longest book I've read all year so far. It was 580 pages. Super long. Speaking of long books, I read a crap ton of City of Brass today because I had a long drive. And I listened to so much of this audiobook. I'm now over halfway through. I have like 170 pages left or something. I didn't check. I'm just guessing. I don't like Ollie. And he's the main character, POV person. So, you're blocking my face, man. There we go. Yeah. I'm just disappointed because I thought I would love this more than I am. And I guess we'll see if I want to continue the series. There's something, okay, this is my thing. There is a love triangle, I can tell, happening between Ollie and, what's the main character's name? Nahiri. Nari? I can't remember how the audiobook narrator says her name. And Dara. And Dara's the shit, and Ollie is a wet noodle, whiny, complainy, little baby bitch who I don't like. After I don't want to, like, spoil it. Like, I'll put spoilers up for City of Brass right here. Because I'm going to talk about something I want to look up. Here's the thing, people. I'm going to look up, after I read this book, who Nahiri ends up with. Nari. I don't know. The main character. Who the main character ends up with. And if she doesn't end up with Dara, I'm not continuing with the trilogy because I don't like Ali. And I'm worried that she's going to end up with him because Dara doesn't have a POV. Ali does. And I'm like, why? He's just a whiny little bitch. So, anyway, that's my update. I'm hoping to finish this week. Oh, woo. I'm going to finish this week. And I can update you then. So, say bye, Alec. Okay, party people. I finished City of Brass. I'm quite impressed with myself. It's a chunky boy. I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. It's really good. All right, I'm going to have a little non-spoilery section and then a spoilery section, but much like Rule of Wolves, I kind of have to spoil the whole series if I want to talk about why I'm not continuing on. So first is the non-spoiler part. I really loved a lot of elements of this. I love Nari. I loved Dara. And I loved the magic system. I thought it was super interesting. The world building was very confusing at first. I feel like even more so than most fantasy where you're confused in the beginning. Like, I was lost for a good part of this book. Like, let's see if I can find it. Like, I was, like, underlining stuff. I was taking notes. Of course, now I can't find anything specific. But I was writing in the book notes because I was just super confused. But especially for a debut, like, this is great. However, I really didn't like Ollie, and he's half this book. I wish it was all from Nari's perspective, honestly. Yeah, so that's kind of all I have for non-spoilers. Spoiler section for the whole series, because I looked up some stuff that happens because I wanted, like, it was riding on whether I was going to continue. So my big reason for not continuing is I looked up how the rest of the series goes, basically, and who Nari ends up with, because there's a love triangle between her, Ollie, and Dara in this first book. And yeah, she ends up with Ollie. So, fuck that. That guy was so boring. Ollie's so boring. I literally did not care. I did not like his chapters. I did not, like, he's just a whiny little bitch, and I did not like him at all. I read this really in-depth review of the third book, and the way that the reviewer was describing everything, I could just tell that I would feel very similarly. Like, the way that everything lines up with the plot, with the characters, I can just tell that I would ultimately end up being disappointed. So I'm not going to waste the time to continue the series because I love myself. And I already force myself to finish books I'm not always enjoying. So we're not going to continue series that I'm not necessarily enjoying. All right. End of the spoiler section. So I don't have much else to say. I mean, this video is probably already gargantuan, but that's all right. Don't have much else to say. I still would recommend this to people who are interested in it because I do think a lot of the reasons I'm not continuing with the series and why I gave this 3 stars are personal. And I think that a lot of people do love the series. I don't know if I'm interested in S.A. Chakraborty's new series, the one about the pirate. I don't know if that one interests me, but I definitely have not written her off as an author. I would definitely be interested if she ever came out with something that I was intrigued in. But yeah, so this was kind of a bust. But I will say I've not like I've read a ton of Jin books, but I really did like the way that Jin were done in this, which gives me hope because I read This Woven Kingdom by Tara Mafi and did not like that book at all. So I am happy that I ended up enjoying the magic system and stuff in this. But yeah, so we're almost there, people. I got Queen of Shadows and the Pyramid. And then we can post this video. So yeah, peace. Hello, I don't know why we're doing this for my hair, but we are. What a flattering angle of my bed. And Wolfie. Any angle of Wolfie's a good angle. But I'm here with astounding news. I freaking finished Queen of Shadows. Oh my god. This took me so long to read. Way, way longer than it should have. It is a long book. It's like 650 pages. But I've read longer. I mean, it shouldn't have taken me so long. I feel like Sarah J. Maas's writing is so easy and smooth to read, but the first half of this book dragged. This could have been at least 100 pages shorter. Like, the first half is literally all planning for one event. And, like, we don't even see that planning. It's kind of kept in secret so that there's, like, a big reveal at the midpoint, which I just did not think was the best way to handle it. I'm all down for how did she do it and revealing that, but when you don't show us any of it, literally the first half of this was the same scene 50 times. There was the Manon stuff that kept it a bit interesting, but the Celaena stuff, slog. Oh my god, the first half, I struggled. It's not that I was disliking it, I just was not engaged. I did not want to pick it up. I was just a little bored. The first half is definitely a 3 out of 5, probably. Maybe even a 2.5. But the second half absolutely slapped. It was so good, so fast-paced. I'm like, why couldn't we have been doing this the whole time? Shit was happening. It was very good. I even have favorite parts, and I did spill chocolate milk on this. Oops. I feel like it's similar to Crown of Midnight, which had a similar pacing issue, in my opinion, that the first half of Crown of Midnight was a slog, and the second half was, great, breakneck pace, amazing. I feel like so far in this series, Heir of Fire has been the best paced book of all 4, because this one just was unbalanced. Or it should have been 100 pages shorter at least. But I'm very, very happy I finished it. I ended up rating it 3.5, 4, rounded up to 4. So far, I feel like my ranking of the series, I don't know. I really loved Throne of Glass back in the day. It's so much fun, but it's just not on the same level, I guess, as the rest of them. Throne of Glass is the most fun, but Heir of Fire is the best. And then probably this one and Throne of Glass are pretty even. And then Crown of Midnight is the worst so far, in my opinion. I'm very excited to read Empire of Storms. That's Daradon. Empire of Storms. I've heard you can tandem read Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn because they're happening at the exact same time. I don't think I'm going to do that. I feel like if I did tandem read them, it would be a little overwhelming. So I might just read them in publication order. I still also have to read The Assassin's Blade, which I know I should have done that a while ago, but I haven't. So oops. But yeah, I am so proud of myself for finishing this. It was a journey. And I know that I'm supposed to also finish Red Pyramid for this, but I haven't touched it in a while since I started this video, and I want this to be over because I've actually done pretty well about not starting a ton of other books. I mean, I always have my stack, the stack of shame that sits by my bed of all the books I need to read, but I've been pretty good about not starting a bunch of stuff. But yeah, I don't feel like waiting to post this video. I don't feel like reading this right this moment and posting this video off any longer. It's been such a long time, and I feel like I've been focusing on all of these books when I have other videos with other books I want to focus on. So we're just gonna stop it here and say we failed to read The Red Pyramid in time or whatever. But I feel like we did pretty good. We read, what did we read for this video? We read Emily Wilde, Iron Widow, and then I inserted some more. I inserted Mexican Gothic, that Last on Wine book, that Percy Jackson book, City of Brass, Rule of Wolves, and Queen of Shadows. So that's 8 books that I have successfully completed for this video. 8's a nice happy number. I'm not complaining about that. And I can finally post this, and hopefully you can look out for more videos from me soon. Okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Good night.